Coming home from work, Fiona Lawson finds that other people are moving into her house. Movers are already carrying their furniture inside. The woman explains that she and her husband just bought the house. Fiona's husband, Bram, meanwhile, has disappeared. The woman introduces herself as Lucy Vaughn. Fiona insists she would remember if she had rented out the house. Lucy states that the house is not rented, but purchased. Fiona tries to stop the movers from unloading the furniture, but she no longer has any power here. The woman's shock deepens when she sees that all of her and Bram's belongings are gone. Lucy explains that the previous owners moved out yesterday. But the thing is, Fiona wasn't even here yesterday. All the rooms are empty, as if the previous occupants had indeed planned the move ahead of time. Lucy has all the documents confirming that the sale has taken place. Fiona suspects that real estate scammers are involved, but Lucy insists that everything is legal and that the money from the sale should already have been transferred to the Lawsons' account. 10 years earlier, Fiona and Bram arrived to view this very house. The owners, an elderly couple, have put it up for sale because their children have grown up, started their own families, and moved away. Without much hesitation, Fiona and Bram buy it. The couple now has 2 sons, 8-year-old Harry and 7-year-old Leo. Today, Fiona, who works in home goods sales, is planning to attend an event while her husband will stay home with the children. She returns home late. The children are already asleep and Bram is nowhere to be found. Fiona becomes uneasy when she notices an empty wine bottle. It makes her think that someone might be in the small garden house Bram built for the boys. And indeed, when Fiona comes closer, she sees her husband with another woman, their neighbor Merle. Bram tells Merle to leave. He and his wife have a difficult conversation ahead. To Fiona, his excuses sound completely pathetic. He promises to make it up to her, saying they can get through this together. But Fiona wants him to pack his things and leave right now. In the present, she keeps trying to reach her husband, but his number is out of service. So she calls Bram's office only to learn he hasn't shown up since Wednesday. Fiona's panic grows even stronger when she calls the school and finds out the boys haven't been there today. Shortly before that, while Fiona was packing Bram's belongings, Merle appeared at their doorstep to say how ashamed she felt. But Fiona simply slammed the door. Bram doesn't want to lose his family and home. Yet he feels powerless. For now, he has to stay with his mother. Meanwhile, at the playground in the park, Fiona chats with her friends, telling them she is determined to file for divorce. When asked who the woman was, Fiona prefers not to answer. Of course, the boys are struggling with the changes too, especially Leo, who is deeply attached to his father. When Merle joins them, Fiona looks at her with hatred. Bram arrives to pick up the boys and spend time with them. For the children's sake, Fiona tries to behave with dignity and not reveal her true emotions. In the present, she manages to find out that Bram has taken the boys somewhere. She tries to remain calm, convinced that there must be an explanation for everything. In the past, after a walk with his sons, Bram suggests that Fiona at least try to spend time together for the children's sake. Eventually, she gives in. She wishes everything could go back to how it used to be, that they could be a family again, and Bram clearly wishes for the same. He tries to convince his wife that it will never happen again, that everything will be different from now on if only she lets him come back home. But Fiona remains firm, believing Bram to be selfish and deceitful. In the present, she can no longer stay calm. Lucy Vaughn tries to help, but she knows no more than Fiona does. The woman calls Bram's mother, but Tina has no idea where he is. However, the boys are at her house. Some time ago, Fiona tries to decide what to do about the house. She would rather not sell it or move away since all the boys' friends live nearby. This makes her suggest to Bram that they should take turns living in the house with their sons. They will also rent an apartment somewhere close by. They will need a lawyer's help to draw up a proper agreement. Thus, the couple, still not officially divorced, goes ahead with this plan. Bram is far from happy about the arrangement, unable to understand why Fiona wants to destroy what they have built together over the years. The main rule is no new partners in the family home. The small studio apartment across the street does not please Bram either. But for now, it's the best they can afford. He needs to find more money somehow. Bram tries to persuade Saskia to grant him a bonus, but she refuses. The situation is already difficult, made worse by the fact that his driver's license has been taken away for repeated speeding offenses. So now he has to travel to clients by train or taxi. Still having a valid license is essential for his work. Saskia promises to talk to Neil, their direct supervisor. It is now Bram's turn to live in the house. He and Fiona switch every 2 weeks. She arrives at the rented apartment. The fridge is stocked with food, probably Bram's attempt to make peace with her. She doesn't like it here at all. Meanwhile, the boys ask their father what is happening to their family. Why don't their parents live together anymore? Bram tells them they aren't getting divorced. It's just that Fiona doesn't know it yet. In the present, David Vaughn, Lucy's husband, arrives, and she suggests calling their lawyers to sort everything out. The man shows her a copy of the contract where she sees her own signature. At that moment, Merle appears at the door, pregnant. In the past, it's Bram's turn again to live in the house. Fiona's friend Allison drops by. She advises Fiona to contact a lawyer to speed up the divorce process, gain custody of the children, and keep the house. But Fiona cannot bring herself to do it. Meanwhile, Merle shows up at Bram's place. He tries to send her away, knowing that if Fiona finds out Merle was here, there will be no hope of getting back together. Merle has come to tell him that she is pregnant. According to her, the child's father is her husband, Adrian. She thought Bram should know, even though nothing remains between them. Now she only wants to make peace with Fiona. In the present, David insists that Fiona check her bank account, but the money from the house sale has not arrived. Merle steps in to defend Fiona, suggesting they call the police. When David sees a photo of Bram, he confirms that this is the man who sold them the house. In the past, Fiona and Bram seem to have adapted to their new way of life. One day before leaving the house, he takes the car keys, even though he shouldn't be driving. Fiona still can't fully accept that her marriage is over. Seeing other couples makes her feel sad. After a conference, when all the employees were relaxing and drinking in the hotel bar, Saskia approaches Bram and tells him that his issue with the taken-away driver's license has been resolved. She's drunk and hints that she's booked a room here. Before Bram can say anything, he gets a call from Fiona, who asks him to stop by on his way home. She wants to talk. Of course, Bram can't miss such a chance and heads home, driving drunk and without a license. It seems Fiona has made up her mind and is ready to forgive him. Bram is in such a rush that he speeds again and overtakes the car ahead, while Fiona waits for him with an open bottle of wine. Suddenly, another car begins to overtake Bram, and a road fight begins. Because of it, a third car coming from the opposite direction flips onto the roadside. Bram stops, sobering up from shock, while the second driver flees the scene. After some hesitation, Bram drives away too. As if nothing happened, he arrives at his wife's place and lies that he missed the train. Fiona admits she misses him and is willing to give him another chance, but at some point, she feels that something is wrong. Bram is clearly nervous. Fiona suspects he's seeing another woman. Their argument is interrupted by Leo awakened by his parents' raised voices. Before leaving, Bram puts the car keys back on the table, as if he never took them at all. In the present, David says the sale was completed on Saturday, and that Bram personally sold the house. The police arrive, but the officers can do nothing, since the house legally belongs to the Vaughns. Now, Fiona cannot believe this is happening in real life. It feels more like a nightmare. In the past, Bram constantly checks the newsfeed, especially reports about car accidents in the area. During Allison's birthday gathering, Fiona finds out that Merle is pregnant. Neither Allison nor their mutual friend Kirsty has any idea that Merle is the reason for Fiona and Bram's divorce. When she tells her husband about Merle's pregnancy, he only says he's happy for her and Adrian. But in truth, Bram is worried about something else entirely. He has just read in the news that the girl from that car accident has fallen into a coma. In the present, David contacts the real estate agent who handled the sale and learns that Fiona was there in person. Fiona insists it wasn't her. Some other woman is pretending to be her. After the accident, the girl and her mother remain in extremely critical condition, and Bram can't stop thinking about it. He calls home and is surprised to hear Merle's voice. It turns out she is watching the children while Fiona is out on a date. She comes home late and doesn't look particularly pleased. Merle tries to talk to her, saying that what happened between her and Bram was a terrible mistake. Containing her emotions, Fiona firmly says she has no intention of causing a scene, but only for the sake of her sons and Merle's daughters. From now on, she wants nothing more to do with this woman. Before leaving, Merle mentions that Bram called. Fiona tries to call him back, but he doesn't answer because at that moment, he's in the arms of a random woman he met at a bar. It turns out Merle wasn't the only one. Years ago, he had already cheated on Fiona, and she forgave him. Bram tries to get rid of the new woman whose name is Wendy when she suddenly says that she's seen him before the night he fled the crash scene, leaving those poor people to die in their car. And now she wants a reward for her silence. Realizing this is blackmail, Bram says he wasn't responsible for the crash, that he simply panicked and drove away. Wendy sets her terms. The police are offering $5,000 for any information, so she expects more from him. Fiona tells Allison about her date. It went well, but she still feels guilty toward Bram. At that moment, Allison admits that her husband, Roger, saw Bram leaving a bar last night with another woman. It hurts Fiona to hear that. Bram knows the police are searching for the driver responsible for the crash. Nevertheless, he tries to act as if everything is fine and goes to see Fiona to apologize for not returning her call the previous day. She hints that she knows about his latest affair and simply tells him not to forget to wash the sheets. In the present, it turns out there is another woman also claiming to be Fiona Lawson, insisting she never sold the property and never received any money. So one of them must be lying. Fiona plans to talk to Raph, the real estate agent who conducted the sale. Not long before that, at the office where Fiona works, she meets an attractive man named Toby. He immediately invites her for coffee. Fiona's too flustered to answer, so Toby leaves her his business card in case she changes her mind. Saskia asks Bram how his divorce is going, hinting that she's ready to offer a woman's support anytime. Wendy shows up right at his office. Last time, she forgot to leave her number. The woman tells him to hurry up. Once Bram gets the cash, he must call her and wait for instructions on what to do next. Fiona meets Toby over a glass of wine. He is divorced and has 2 teenage children from his previous marriage. Fiona doesn't notice how she loses control and in the car responds to Toby's kiss, but they both realize they shouldn't rush things. Toby drives her home and tells her to call when she feels ready. Meanwhile, Allison has been looking after the boys. Fiona tells her that the date went well. Toby is very sweet and seems reliable, but She's worried about Bram, who has been acting nervous lately. Allison promises to visit him and the boys over the weekend. In the present, Fiona calls Raph, who insists that he met with her the day before, describing her as a well-dressed, dark-haired woman. Raph also claims that just 5 minutes ago, he spoke with Bram on the phone. When Fiona sees the number, she realizes it doesn't belong to her husband. In the past, he suggests that Fiona take out a loan to get by until they sort everything out, but the woman refuses to be financially tied to her husband in any way. As promised, Allison visits Bram on the weekend. Roger suggests they all go for a walk in the park. There's a fair going on. During the walk, Allison mentions that Fiona is doing fine and moving on, but she's also worried about Bram. He doesn't expect to see Wendy there and introduces her as his colleague. They step aside to talk privately. Wendy firmly tells him to hurry up. The price has gone up. Now she wants $10,000 and he has only 1 day. As she leaves, Wendy gives him another piece of advice. Get rid of the car and report it stolen. Fiona and Toby go bowling and have a great time together. Meanwhile, Bram visits his mother and suggests selling his late father's old car, but Tina refuses since her husband loved that car dearly. It's a family keepsake. Unable to keep it to himself any longer, Bram admits that he desperately needs money, but Tina, who lives on a modest pension, can't help him. Fiona brings Toby to the apartment for the first time. With him, she feels as if she's 20 again. The attraction between them leads to passion, while Bram steals the car he and Fiona share. The next morning, when Fiona arrives at the family home, she hides the fact that she wasn't alone the previous night. Bram, in turn, asks her where she parked the car. The woman says in the usual spot, but it's gone. Bram suggests it has been stolen. In the present, Fiona keeps trying to reach her husband, but in vain. She yells at Lucy and David to get out of the house. David threatens to call the police if she doesn't stop immediately. Lucy urges everyone to calm down, at least until the lawyers sort everything out. Fiona is on the edge. Whoever those people were who sold the house, they somehow got hold of her passport, her birth certificate, and her signature. Meanwhile, David receives a response from the lawyers. He and Lucy are now the official owners. Shortly before that, Wendy calls Bram and gives him the address of a cafe, where she is already waiting to collect the money, but all he has managed to scrape together is $1,000. Bram insists that the insurance company will soon pay for the stolen car, and then Wendy can take the rest. At that moment, Toby joins their table, though his real name is Mike Fuller, and says they don't need Bram's car, they need his house. In the present, Fiona still cannot understand that her house no longer belongs to her. Where will she and the boys go now? Not long before that, Mike had completely charmed Fiona, making her trust him. Sergeant McGowan comes to her office to talk about the stolen car. The thing is, it resembles the one seen at the crash site. Learning that the victims were a woman and her 8-year-old daughter leaves Fiona horrified. She calls Bram and tells him about the police visit and the person who fled the crash scene. Seeing Wendy and Mike, Bram hangs up. They are following him everywhere. Moreover, they have video proof that he was at the scene. Wendy hands Bram a phone. From now on, they will contact him only through it. Mike has already estimated the house's value around $2 million, found a real estate agent, and arranged everything. Fiona is a co-owner of the property, but there is a way to sell it without her involvement. Today, it's his turn to spend time with the children. He gently suggests to Fiona that maybe they should think about selling the house, but she remains firm. She has no intention of moving. Bram soon gets a call from Sergeant McGowan from the Traffic Accident Division. Fiona feels a little disappointed that Toby hasn't invited her over yet. He promises that as soon as his parents leave town, he will definitely bring her to his place. Taking advantage of the moment, Bram steals his wife's passport. It's necessary for the deal. Fiona wants to be honest and admits that she's seeing someone. Bram, who has far more pressing problems, reacts almost without emotion. In the present, Fiona shows up at Raph's office and insists that she never gave permission to sell the house. She wasn't even there. But Raph says there's nothing he can do since the money has already been transferred to the seller's account. Before these events, Bram meets Wendy and gives her Fiona's passport. He also tries to turn her against Mike, saying that he treats her badly and doesn't respect her. However, the manipulation doesn't work. Wendy has no intention of betraying Mike. When Fiona picks up the boys to spend time with them, Bram shows Lucy and David Vaughn the house. They are satisfied with everything and ready to close the deal. Meanwhile, Fiona and the other mothers are enjoying themselves at the beach with their children. Later, as the women sip wine, Fiona tells them about Toby, how wonderful and kind he is. Her friends are eager to meet him as soon as possible. Catching a moment when Fiona is alone, Merle approaches her and asks for forgiveness once again. Fiona wants to know what really happened and needs only the truth. Merle admits that it happened suddenly and it's over now, so nothing stands in the way of Fiona and Bram being together again. Fiona needs time anyway. She might forgive Merle, but that doesn't mean she will forgive Bram. In the past, he was just waiting for it all to finally be over. Mike promised Bram he would leave him alone right after the sale went through. It was Christmas Eve. Bram was surprised when Fiona suggested they spend the holiday together as a family. In the present, Fiona has no idea how she will explain all this to the boys. She's terrified. Merle promises to do everything she can to help. In the past, Fiona and Bram spend Christmas together with the children in their family home. Everything feels as it once did, as if their family had never fallen apart. If only he could turn back time, Bram would never have messed things up so badly. Fiona sees her own share of guilt too. Perhaps she should have paid more attention to her husband. Lately, she feels she still needs him. In the morning, they wake up together. Bram wants to believe they are a family again, but Fiona objects, saying it's only for 2 days. Once Christmas is over, they will go their separate ways again. Bram suggests that they start over and do something crazy like selling the house. Fiona doesn't like where the conversation is going. They've invested everything into this house. It's perfect. And she's not about to lose what they've worked so hard to achieve for so many years. Fiona asks Bram to just leave. When he picks up his bag, she notices a pack of sedatives. In the present, Toby promises Fiona that they will figure everything out together. She introduces him to Merle, who takes an instant dislike to him. Shortly before that, Sergeant McGowan approaches Bram to talk about the stolen car. Bram claims that he traveled to and from the conference by train since he lost his driver's license some time ago, something his wife doesn't know. Before leaving, the sergeant mentions that the matter isn't just about a stolen vehicle. It concerns a serious crime that left a woman and her daughter injured. The girl never came out of the coma. Left alone, Bram breaks down in tears. The guilt is consuming him. In the past, as a Christmas gift, Toby books a room at a luxury hotel so that he and Fiona can spend some time together. She is touched by his thoughtfulness, having no idea what his real intentions are. Toby drives her home and asks if he can use the bathroom. Fiona remembers the legal agreement forbidding either her or Bram from bringing partners to the house, but she feels too awkward to refuse her lover. Suddenly, there's a knock at the door. Fiona doesn't expect to see her husband standing there so late at night. When Bram sees Mike, he loses control and punches the man, starting a fight that the boys witness. Fiona screams at them to stop and begs Toby to leave, promising to explain everything later. Bram can't understand what that man was doing in their home. His shock deepens when he hears that Mike is Fiona's new boyfriend. When Bram returns to the apartment, Mike is already waiting for him. He says he'll distract Fiona for 2 days while the house is being sold. Mike also promises that once the deal is done, they'll help Bram leave the country with fake documents. Bram shouts that the girl didn't survive the crash and that he'll never live with that. Mike already knows but doesn't care. He is the second driver who caused the accident and fled the scene. It was part of his plan from the beginning. In the present, Mike pretends to be helping Fiona. He suggests that Bram did it out of jealousy, but she doesn't believe her husband would steal a house for that reason. When Toby says that Bram is a traitor because he cheated not only with Merle, but with another woman years ago, Fiona tenses. She never mentioned that to Toby. Shortly before that, Fiona leaves the boys with Bram to spend 2 days at the hotel with Toby. Bram has nothing to say. He can only watch helplessly as his wife drives away with Mike. Bram takes the children to his mother so he can finalize the sale of the house. In the present, Mike tries to convince Fiona that she was the one who told him about all of Bram's affairs, but she's already beginning to suspect that Toby, or rather Mike, is the man who pressured Bram and forced him to sell the house. In the past, Bram demands that Wendy show him his fake passport before the deal takes place. Then, in Raph's presence, Bram and Wendy, pretending to be Fiona, sign the documents. That night, all the belongings are moved out of the house so that the new owners can move in the next morning. At the same time, Mike continues to play the part of the perfect lover for Fiona. Bram walks into his home for the last time. In the morning, Wendy gives him a ride. He feels like he can't go through with it, but now there's no other choice. Just then, Fiona says she has to go back home urgently because she forgot to send some work documents. Mike does everything he can to delay her. When Fiona gets home, she sees movers carrying someone else's furniture into her house. Neither Wendy nor Mike can reach Bram. The problem is the money still hasn't arrived in the account. Mike blames Wendy, saying she failed to check that Bram had given the right account number. At the airport, Bram presents his passport while Mike threatens Fiona that if she doesn't find her husband and the money, something might happen to one of her boys tomorrow. Her first stop is the apartment where she discovers that all of Bram's belongings are gone. She searches for any clue and suddenly spots a mobile phone in the trash. Fiona reads through Bram's messages with the blackmailers, refusing to believe her husband was doing all this behind her back. Pulling herself together, Fiona texts the blackmailers as if she were Bram, saying she will wait for them in the apartment. Meanwhile, in Geneva, Bram goes to the bank. Mike arrives at the apartment and is annoyed to find Fiona there. She reminds him she has nowhere else to go and assures him that Bram is already on his way. To pass the time, Fiona offers Mike a glass of wine. Just like on their first date, she wants to know what Mike learned about her husband that allowed him to blackmail him. Mike reveals the truth about the accident. Fiona is devastated to hear that Bram could have done such a thing, especially since the victims were a mother and her daughter. After a while, Mike begins to feel his mind clouding. It's too late when he realizes Bram isn't coming. Fiona slipped Bram's pills into Mike's wine. With the last of his strength, he attacks Fiona, but she overpowers him and runs to the bathroom, locking the door. Soon everything goes silent outside and Fiona hesitantly steps out. Mike is lying on the floor, unconscious. When she comes closer, she realizes he's dead. Bram has already made a decision while his wife, trembling, grabs her phone and calls Merle. She arrives immediately. Seeing Mike's body, Merle asks what happened. Fiona explains that Michael wasn't who he claimed to be and that he was the one behind the sale of the house. Now Fiona has no idea what to do. Merle suggests calling the police, assuring Fiona that it was a crime committed in a state of shock. But Fiona knows it was planned murder. She didn't act on impulse. She planned everything, and that means prison. Merle suggests that Fiona frame Bram. The woman herself doesn't know any Mike Fuller. She knows Toby. The message came from Bram's secondary phone. Everything looks as if he decided to keep all the money for himself, took Mike's life, and ran away. Suddenly, the door buzzer rings. It's Wendy, but no one opens the door. Merle helps Fiona get rid of the evidence, and together they come up with a story. Fiona will pretend that she has just arrived at the apartment and discovered the body, after which she will call the police. Fiona is determined. Bram betrayed her, and that betrayal feels even worse than cheating. She calls the police. While Bram is still in Geneva, Wendy sees Fiona getting into a police car. Their eyes meet. Wendy understands that Mike is dead. During questioning, Fiona says she saw Mr. Fuller only once. Supposedly, he came to the house the day before looking for Bram. When asked whether her husband was taking any medication, Fiona confirms that he was. Detective Lucy Myers explains that according to the police, Mike Fuller was Bram's accomplice, and together they were involved in a real estate fraud scheme. The police will begin the investigation immediately. Fiona goes to Merle's house and says that everything went well. It seems Detective Myers sympathized with her, and perhaps losing the house isn't the end of the world. For Fiona, the most important thing is that her children are safe, but she still doesn't know how to tell the boys that their father is a traitor. Merle offers her a cup of calming tea. At some point, Fiona receives a message from the bank. Bram has transferred all the money to her account. Detective Myers arrives and lets her listen to Bram's final message. He admits that he was responsible for the crash, and that Mike Fuller had been blackmailing him. Bram also states that his wife had nothing to do with the fraudulent house sale, and that Mike had taken advantage of her vulnerability. She knew him as Toby. At the same time, Bram walks into a deep lake. There's no one around. Fiona listens to his final message with tears in her eyes. She is arrested for taking the life of Mike Fuller. She looks at her house one last time, a house that no longer belongs to her.